Hello there. My name is Ernest M. Hancock. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri in 1924. I moved to Pasadena, went into service in 1943. Army Air Corps. Got on a train and we went choo-chooing up the railroad. And in the process of this, at nights, why, they'd uncouple us from the engine and leave us in the railroad yards. And the reason why they do that, if the British bombed the railroad yards, well, then they wouldn't have to take us to the PW camp. It took us 4 days to get to the PW camp, and we had water one time, food not any time at all.
You're about to be inducted into the armed forces of the United States. You will take one step forward as your name is called, and such step will constitute your...
The average age is 23. The youngest is 19. They come from city and farm, slum and mansion. And almost to a man, they would rather be somewhere else. Yet they are here.
My name is Paul Chase. I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I also served in the Middle East with the United States Air Force. I served for 23 years in active duty and then retired. I have an interesting background from the standpoint that I graduated from college in 1964, set myself to graduate school to obtain a very specific job that I was interested in. And at age 25, as a full-time graduate student, I got drafted, which was a very unsettling experience. I decided to make the best of it and joined the Air Force.
My name's Rick Raskin. I served in the U.S. Army from 1966 to 1969. 1967, I served in Vietnam. I was with the 1st Signal Brigade, Long Lines Detachment, stationed out of Nha Trang, Vietnam. We got pretty cocky because we thought we were pretty much invincible. And sometimes we'd go out, wouldn't have flak jackets or something like that. And then one day on the way back, saw this squad of VC walking up the road, walking right toward us. We were coming back. And they saw us, we saw them, and we kept going and they kept going. Got back to the base and reported it in where we'd seen VC activity. And NCOIC says, well, did you shoot at them? I said, hell no, I didn't shoot at him. He says, well, doggone it, I would have. And I said, well, the reason I'm here telling you is because I didn't shoot at him. I said, we could have gone around that next curve and there could have been a whole battalion of them up there for all we knew.
Name is Peter McLeod, U.S. Army. I was a specialist first class in Vietnam. A little bit tired of the process and decided that I would do something I didn't know I could do, which was volunteer for the draft. You could do that. You could say, I want to be taken. And so that's what I did, and within a week I got my greetings. I was inducted on August 18th, 1969.
My name is Joel Chase. I served in Vietnam. I was a platoon leader. I was there in 1969 and 1970. And I had been in the country for about 10 months. And my experience told me that we were going to be attacked. It was just a perfect setup for the NDA. So I told my guys, I said, we're going to get hit, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to take secondary fighting positions. I want you to take hundreds of trip clears and put them out in front of the bunkers to slow the bad guys down. Because their sappers were excellent at weaving like a snake right through trip flares, concertina wire, and all the other tricks that we tried to pull on them.
My name is Stephen Botello. Service was United States Navy.
And your years of service?
I was in the Navy from '86 to 1993.
And which conflicts have you been involved with?
Persian Gulf 1. Well, it was unique as in we had just gone through basically 10 to 15 years of peace. I worked in the EOD, Explosive Ordnance Disposal Program, And during that entire time, we had trained and worked with live weapons and explosives, and we had not yet had a conflict. Most of the folks that I was with had never been involved in any type of a conflict before. So when we got deployed and went there, a lot of folks were very, very nervous, other than the folks at the EOD that I had worked with, because we worked with live explosives, live weapons, and everything we did was live.
My name's Richard Cherney. I was in the Marine Corps from 2004 to 2008. Flight over was pretty uneventful, but the C-130, as we were coming into Iraq, had to do a quick maneuver because we got RPGs shot at us. And even after we touched down and everybody was filing out of the plane, the first thought I had was that smell. Iraq really has a unique smell to it. And I remember one of the corporals, it was his second time over to Iraq, and that's the first thing he had to say, was he forgot how it smelled.
We didn't lose one GI that night, not one. So I spent a year at Walter Reed. When I was in the hospital, I had applied for regular Army and was accepted. And with that, they gave me an automatic promotion to captain, which I had for 11 days, and then they retired me.
The military really changed the way I looked at things. I went in a kid, and I came out a grown man, and my education went a whole lot better than it had started. And I think the military shaped my career, and you know, I can look at it now 40-some years later and see that. Couldn't see it at the time, of course, because I was young and stupid. But as an old elder now, I look back and, you know, it was because of the U.S. military that I had a successful career and am now able to work with the VFW and help the veterans that are out there now. That's pretty much it.
The job I had was extremely interesting. We had intelligence agents that would go out into the field and meet with their contacts, and they would come back and type out reports, and they would give them to me, and I would put them into code and send them out on a radio net, which involved almost the entire country. Found the time in Vietnam very interesting, and I nearly signed up again for 6 more years. You could get a tremendous bonus in those days if you did.
Later in my tour, I faced pretty much the same sort of thing, and I volunteered to send myself to the Middle East in 1983. I was there for a year tour in 1983, and it was mostly the same thing. It had an active fighter mission, and it was very noisy, very hot, very dirty, and very stressful.
Where in the Middle East were you?
I was at Eastern Turkey during the Iraq and Iran war. I don't think I have much else to say. I came back to the U.S. and spent 5 years and retired.
I was awarded the Silver Star, as you see pinned on my jacket here. And it took me 70 years to get that. In the 70 years, I had a very close friend that dug out a lot of information, and he says you're qualified for the Silver Star. So I was given the Silver Star by a Major General. We went to the Capitol here in Virginia, drew a pretty good crowd. I would suppose there was 100 delegates that got up and gave me a round of applause for about 5 minutes, you'd say, about 5 minutes. My grandson was there with me, and I tell you what, it was the most honorable thing and the most proud thing that I ever had in my life. When a general comes up to you and pins the medal on you and steps back and salutes you, and then he hugs you. Naturally, I returned the salute. But he was a great guy, and I enjoyed him very much, and he was as friendly could be. That's it.